Hi, I'm Harold Riegler, producer at Dedelic Entertainment, and today I'm happy to reveal some exciting details about our upcoming game, The Lord of the Rings, Gollum. Gollum has always fascinated us. While being completely essential to the story written by J.R.R. Tolkien, Gollum's long chase for his precious ring has never been told in detail. Yet his incredible journey from Mordor through Mirkwood to the mines of Moria takes players to places they haven't seen like this before, while setting the stage for events that will ultimately decide the fate of all of Middle-earth. Gollum has pretty much traveled everywhere. He's also pretty much met everyone, and by looking at events from his angle, players will experience Middle-earth through the eyes and twisted mind of one of the most iconic characters of all time. All of that in our very own artistic style. From his time in the slave pits of the Dark Tower to his stay with the Elves of Mirkwood, Gollum will creep, sneak, and trick his way past faithful, detailed environments, some of which have never been seen before in such detail. The Lord of the Rings Gollum is a cinematic stealth action adventure. It mixes stealth and parkour gameplay and really leverages Dedelic's expertise in crafting engaging stories. Gollum is no traditional hero. He's learned not to take any sides other than his own, and some of the most powerful beings in Middle-earth want him either captive or dead. In the game, you will meet some iconic characters, but also interesting personalities less known to players, but nonetheless essential to the events unfolding. We've been highly faithful to the descriptions in the books, depicting, for instance, the Moth of Sauron, the Lieutenant of Barad-dûr, who is constantly scheming on behalf of his Dark Lord. In the game, we will see his face for the first time, but also Thranduil, King of the Elves of Mirkwood, father of Legolas, and last but not least, Gandalf the Wizard. We're all super excited to be working on this amazing project, and we can't wait to show you more. Stay tuned on social media at Gollum Game.
Once there was an explosion. A bang which gave rise to life as we know it. Then came the next explosion. An explosion that will be our last.
Sam, I'll be waiting for you on the beach.
Rebuilding America isn't gonna get rid of the BTs.
But at least we'll have hope.
I'm a porter. I don't care about connecting anything.
You see, I've come to understand the truth of the Death Stranding.
I'll be waiting for you on the beach.
PlayStation.
How do? How do? Welcome to Themes Sunday evening / afternoon maker stream. I am your host, JR. I don't have a co-host today. I thought I was having Drew, but I messaged him and no one said anything. So, got no co-host, but that's fine. If he turns up, I can throw him in later. So, how are we all? Hello, Death Ghosts. Hello, Atlantis. Thank you for the follow, Atlantis, by the way. Thank you very much. Oh, so, apologies, Atlantis. Or rather, apologies, everybody. I heard the twing of the follow from Atlantis in the sort of stream pre-roll. I have got the greatest new MP3s, like sounds. Hello, Letzig. For follows, for subs, for all that kind of stuff. I was watching. I watch a guy called Simon Whistler who has about 8 different YouTube channels. It seems. I think it's about 6 different YouTube channels. He does mega projects, big engineering stuff, true crime, loads of stuff, biographical stuff. excellent guy, British guy living in Prague, full-time YouTuber, well worth checking out, Simon Whistler. And I was listening to a True Crimes. Oh, I can do it. Wait a minute. Right, so you'll see why I'm so fucking excited.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Yes. You will now about to see. Thank you so. I was so excited that you're the first person.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you very much for the follow. It's absolutely genius. So I was watching this true crimes thing, and basically the potential criminal.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you, Hunwin, for the follow. Greetings, Brogy. So basically the criminal in this story was called JR. And as a result, from this one true crimes documentary, I basically managed to get the most amazing set of those things. So our follow thing is that.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
I mean, what more could you want in life? I mean, that is just brilliant. So there's a different one for subs. Hello, I keep forgetting to thank people for the follow because I'm just so goddamn excited about the absolutely, quite frankly, genius.
JR might be a dickhead, but apparently he's got some great friends.
Thank you very much, Hunwin, for the sub. Yeah, that's possibly.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you, Hunwin. They are brilliant. And I got like 5 or 6 amazing
I'm
MP3s.
just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you, Zion Cross, for the follow. Thank you very much. Isn't that a great sub alert? Isn't it brilliant?
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
I'm going to have to thank Simon Whistler for this one
I'm just
thing.
happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Yeah. It's... Yeah.
JR might be a dickhead, but apparently he's got some great friends.
Thank you very much, Zion Cross, for the sub. That will make me smile forever, I think. Thank you so much for all the for the follows and the subs. I just honestly, I was crying with laughter listening to this quite horrific crimes that JR had apparently committed. But I was just crying with laughter, going, "I'm totally going to clip that. I'm totally going to clip that too." So brilliant. So we should get on with the show because there's 07 from Nova Intergalactic. There was another guy earlier on from Nova as well, who I should give a shout out to. Atlantis, you were from Nova as well. Yeah, welcome. Nova sends our love. So you're going to have to tell us, what is Nova Galactic? Oh, wow, apparently there's a lot of Nova going on. We are Legion. Nice. Welcome, all you Nova guys. Fantastic work. So what we're doing today? Well, for those of you who have never joined us before, which seems to be quite a lot of you in here tonight, which is absolutely fantastic. Hello, Patch. Good evening from Germany. Good evening from the UK to you, sir. Basically, we are obviously JRDF. We do all the cool models that you can.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you very much, Fappa Pelson, for the follow. Absolutely excellent. So I've got this one out today just because I want to had an amazing message on Discord from Leonard Rain, who's an absolutely amazing supporter of ours and has done loads of unboxings, all in German, which is unhelpful to me. but he pointed something out which I had to correct, and then he realised what was going on, and the fact that it was really awesome. But I just want to highlight that today. We have this thing at the moment where if you do an unboxing, there's a blog about it on our website. I will highlight it a bit more. If you do an unboxing video that's 10 minutes long and you push it out on social media with us as a hashtag and all the rest of it, all the details are on a blog post on our website. Basically, you get a gift voucher. Just kind of like getting you to do our marketing for us, quite frankly. So same with our referral scheme and stuff like that. So Leonard has basically gone through all of the kits he has. He's slowly going through them, and he has all of them. So he's doing an unboxing of every single one. I think he'll have enough to buy a Carrack by the time he's finished all of those. But I just wanted to highlight something in there. Carrack-wise, we've got... I want to do a bit of Carrack building. So we've pretty much got all the parts now.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you very much, Ham Standwich, for the follow. Epic name. Thank you very much. So we want to get this in the state of being ready to put on its stand, because we're going to design the stand tonight. Lots. That's the greatest alert. I know, isn't it? So happy with all my alerts now. So we've got actually loads to do. Right, and I'm drinking Thunder, so it's all going to go really well. Okay, right, where are we going to start? First, I don't know, I haven't seen Leonard in, but I just want to highlight this anyway, and if he comes along, we'll tell him that we did it. So, this is the sandwich has a way of, I love it. Right, so this is upside down because I've inverted my camera. There we go. So this is the Tumbrel RC kit, and basically Leonard had undone his box and was doing an unboxing of this kit. And what he thought had happened was that he had a broken part. Still holding out for the Reclaimer. The Reclaimer's so big, man. It 1 to 500. Oh my god, it's definitely on the list, but oh, jeez, it's so big. Right, so he's doing an unboxing. Reclaimer 1 to 100, go fuck off. It's like a bus. Got to this first layer and pulled out this piece here. Out the foam. And he was like, oh no, there's been a horrendous print error in this on this engine. Because there's a massive hole in it, and it's all sort of, get my camera to focus. Sorry, I have terrible issues with my camera on autofocus. I should do it right. So here's an engine, and it's got a great big hole in it. And if we go really close and hope that it focuses, you can kind of see it's all burnt out and all that. This is deliberate. This is actually deliberate. So if we actually look just to the left of it, there is an intact engine here. How cool is that? So, the broken engine, one that's got a great big hole in it, and is missing pipes and all the pipes are twisted, that is actually a diorama piece for
I'm just
the
happy
RC.
to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you very much for the follow, Nova Dolby. So this is actually an extra engine, and I get the thing because we've never really explained this a huge amount because we just throw all these diorama pieces in. So this is a burnt out engine, so because you can lift the engine in and out, and this is the normal one. So it is actually an extra diorama element. So you can actually see on this bit, these are other bits that are for the RC, so the spoilers on the back and its door. So that is just in the RC. It's a special piece that you only get in the RC kit model. So you don't get one in the TR. You get lots of guns and things in the TR because all the guns, all the pew pew. Oh, Gambler 423. Thank you very much. Yeah, first time seeing these models. Yeah, thank you very much, Dedicus. You saved me typing. You are a star. Well, hope you have a look and see what you think of them. I mean, we have been doing these kits, and we have been doing these kits officially for over 2 years now, and publicity through CIG has been patchy, but that's not their fault. It's just it does take an awful lot to to get these things on. And yeah, so it's nice that we've got a lot of new people that are aware of us and aware of what we've done. And in some ways, it's quite nice to sort of have that happen now, while there's already quite a few models in store with a lot more coming. And especially with this 1 to 500 stuff coming out, the 1 to 500 range. So we've got obviously the Carrack is 1 to 500. It's just over a 10-inch model, fully built. Which means it's not a paltry model, but by any stretch. The other cool thing that a lot of people are excited for, if you haven't seen these, I will just quickly drag these up. I'm in the wrong server. 1 second. Apologies. I do want to be in that. So. One of the cool things that we have that's coming alongside the 1 to 500 1 to 500 ships are these 1 to 500 dioramas. So these aren't the ones that you've seen before from us. These are 1 to 500 versions of the Freelancers and the Cutlasses and the Arrow and the Pisces. So these are ones that go alongside this scale of ship. I've probably got a Pisces kicking around. Must have a Pisces kicking around. There we go. So yeah, so that's the Pisces. Get him in there. So that you've got a Pisces for the hangar. Now, you do get a Pisces with the Carrack and a Rover as diorama pieces, but you can buy them separately in these diorama kits as well as. So each of these is a different kit. But I will point out that the Pisces and the Arrow down front, you actually get 4 in each kit, 3 in flight mode, 1 in landed, because they're just so small that you can't change their interchange their landing modes and stuff. So yeah, it's in the Pisces you actually get 1 C8 in flight, 1 C8 landed, and 2 C8Xs in flight. Just because there's 2 extra guns on it, just like I am not doing 2 separate kits. It'll break my brain to have to sort out the 2 that one has extra guns and one doesn't. So yeah, so that's where we are. So, this will be a really actually interesting stream for anyone who hasn't really seen our models before, because what we're going to do is play around a little bit with the Carrack. I've got a lot of my final print stuff sorted now on this, and this is kind of set up in landed mode at the moment. Obviously, it's got a great big hole in the bottom, which is important for what we're about to do. But we're going to put it in flight mode, and then we're going to build a stand for it. Okay. We have a lot of new people here, Golden Triangles. I know it's the Nova Boys have dropped in, which is absolutely fantastic. So what do we need to do? So we're going to move relatively quick today because we've got a hell of a lot to cover. So, state of play with this model. This is now in landed mode. We have things like the
JR might be a dickhead, but apparently he's got some great friends.
Thank you, Alarian. You are one of those great friends. Thank you for the sub. Death Ghost. Any reason why it's not printed out in a grey colour, or does it not matter? Are you talking about this model being in this sort of creamy colour? Is that the question? Because I can give you a very good and very quick. Right. Okay. 1 second. I'm going to add a freelancer. 1 second. So. Right. So this is the freelancer. This is obviously an older model. Before people panic, this is a 1 to 200 model. We haven't made a terrible mistake. I'm running over here because I can actually grab a. It's still on its sprue, but this gives you a bit of an idea of the difference between a 1 to 200. So that is this is the body of the freelancer in 1 to 500. It's still on its sprue. That gives you a little bit of an idea of what the different scale difference is between 1 to 200 and 1 to 500. It's a bit insane. So this is a 1 to 200 model. And this is in grey resin. This is in model resin. So the reason that this is in model resin, this is in grey resin, is that this is a newer resin. This wasn't around when we did the freelancer. So we transitioned from the Grey resin and Grey Pro. So you might be able to see on here. So these guns are a slightly chalkier color. So this is actually a different resin. This is Grey Pro resin. Focus you. This worked before. Let's try doing this. So this is a Grey Pro resin, which is a stronger resin. I love the fact that my turrets actually gimbal together. How sad am I? It's like, oh no, they should totally gimbal together. They do in game. I went in and checked. And this is great. So we've moved from those two to model and tough. So two completely different resins, neither of which were available when we did our first models. For all those of you that haven't seen what tough resin can do, I did have a piece kicking around that I was using for demonstrations, for demonstrative purposes. Goodness knows where it is now, though. Tough resin is very like an ABS plastic, so you can bend it quite significantly, let's say. Let's use this. Right, so this is a piece of tough resin. This is actually one of the antennas when it's retracted. We have a deployed version, which we'll get to in a minute. So these are the sort of small, finer pieces, and as you can see, there's a lot of flex to it. You can bend and bend and bend and bend this stuff because this is a tough resin. It can survive being manipulated like this, which the older resins, the other ones can't. I'm looking for a bit that will shatter, but of course we don't print out of it anymore, so I don't have any of it lying around. So I've got a bit of... Right, these are some build supports that are in model. So model's quite a brittle material. So you can sort of see it snaps when you bend it. So it's great for large chunky pieces. Great for large chunky pieces. The surface detail is monstrously good on model resin. Is what it's designed for. Camera focus. You don't see the print lines in model resin. It's absolutely phenomenal, and you can really pick out, the details in the model with this stuff. And yeah, it's nice to have that combination of model for the really, really nice surface quality and these tougher resins for the more fragile parts. So, for example, we've used model resin, tough resin for turrets, for the landing gears, little bottom turrets. I'm not pointing at anything, I can't see it. There we go. Obviously, landing gear again. We've used it on the ramp and these front landing gear. Yes, well, Hunwin, they can't in game yet, but they do on our model. So we have, because we are streets ahead, we actually have the antennas that actually deploy on the Carrack. Now, how do we know how they work? Well, A, we've seen photographs of them, and B, they are actually there in the model. When you tear the model to pieces into its components, they do actually exist, and it's that whole thing of we just have to see what's there, just see how it's going to work. Like there is this like hydraulic ram inside it, so you can see how it's going to unfurl. So we just unfurl it and model it that way. We're drawing everything out again, so it doesn't really, we're not really restricted. So turret wise, the only thing that you guys haven't seen who have been following, I've done this turret, which is kind of at an random attack angle now. So these are interchangeable. These just pull out. They're just on little sockets, so you can interchange the turrets out. So there's going to be lots of different ones for you to display the model in different ways. They just push fit. On the underneath we have the ramp that is deployed. This is just on a magnet, so that just comes off, and the garage is all modeled on the inside as well, which is quite nice. Front landing gear, again, magnets. All the magnets are obviously included in these kits. So obviously you can do The 1-200 Inferno will just be a functional handgun with wings. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. So these guys are on big magnets. So these have got 5x2mm magnets. So I'm going to hold it. I'll first do it here. You won't hear it here. I don't think anyway. But I'm going to hold it up to my microphone. You'll hear that click. I love that. I love the click of these magnets. It's a very definite, secure fitting. So this is how we've had to approach the landing states of the Carrack. Because these things fold in and fold out and fold under and all this kind of crap, we've had to take the whole thing off. So we'll take the turret off, take the wing off, do the same on this side. Don't think I glued that. No, I didn't glue that in. Pull that out again on the magnets. So now she's sort of in a non-landing or flight state. So what we're going to do now is put her in flight state, and a few other bits and pieces. So the nose. We'll quickly cover the nose for all those people who haven't seen how we're going to do this. This at the moment is made out of model resin. This is obviously not acceptable for a JRDF model. This is just a temporary piece, so we're going to pull that out. It's going to be held on by magnets. I've not got any magnets in this one at the moment, but there are magnet holes in there. This hole here is going to become very important in a minute. You're going to see why. So this is where the canopy, the bridge, we're going to call it the bridge goes. So, what is acceptable for a JRDF model? Well, to do it clear, to start with, would be acceptable. Now, for those people who follow us religiously, as quite a few of you do, you'll know last Wednesday we were talking about clear casting parts in general. I've still got these kicking around. So this is the arrow screen.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you, Airbrusher41, for the follow. I will always smile when people follow me on that. So this is the arrow screen that you get in the kit. It is transparent. It is a 3D print done in clear resin on a Formlabs Form 2 printer. It's not perfect. We've tried different ways of casting it. We can cast these, believe it or not. There is a company that will do it for us, but they cost £15 each. This does not. So it would effectively add £15 to the price of the kit just to have this better. And that we didn't think was an acceptable thing to have. Now, because the pilot sits very close to it, you can see him through the screen, yada, yada, yada. Right. This boyo is a different kettle of fish. Look at that. I'll put them side by side with writing behind them. The clear parts can be polished. It's slightly difficult to polish these very sort of intricate shapes when they've got struts and all that kind of stuff. But yes, it can be done. But this is what we really wanted. They're not perfect yet, but there we go. This is the new one that we're playing around with at the moment. This is the current one. Yeah. So how do we make this? Well, it's still 3D printed. It's 3D printed on the new Formlabs printer, the Form 3, which we have a couple of. And it's coated in a specialist coating, which we now have, and have the ability to apply. So that is amazing. Hello from Nova. Hello back to Nova. A lot of Nova guys in today. So this is the next gen, basically, of our clear prints. I'm still working on it. We had a question from Golden Triangles. I think it was Golden Triangles. Last time, can the people who currently have arrows, the nearly 300 of you that have already bought the arrow, it's like I'm fixing the arrow screen, they're nearly all gone. But no. So for all of you that are unaware, we have a free spare parts policy. This would be a great time to bring that up. Why do we have a free parts policy? Well, because we're awesome. It's mainly because, at the end of the day, a lot of the guys and girls that are buying, loads of women buying our kits this last month. Brilliant. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about anybody buying our stuff. But But yeah, a significant uptick in the female half of the community buying our models. It's quite cool. We appreciate that a lot of you may never have done a kit before, and even the ones that have done kits may not have done 3D printed kits. So 3D printed kits are not as strong as hideous injection molded kits. So things can happen, shit can happen. There's 50 magnets that come in the arrow. If you glue it in the wrong way around, you might have some fucking issues. So with all of these potential accidental damage, all of this, it's like, boom, free spare parts. You just pay postage and you can get any part for any of our kit models. Not dioramas, because effectively there are only a couple of bits anyway, but all of our kit models. So since we're talking about the arrow, we'll dodge into the arrow. So here we have every part.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
FF Tunes, thanks for the follow. So as you can see here, this is quite a nice way of looking at how amazing the bits of the kit are as well. I like the ludicrous detail. But so you can get each part in here. Now these are requests for pieces. Some people, I'm going to categorize them as knobheads. Think, oh, I've got a really good idea. I'm going to just order all the free spare parts. Doesn't work, because me and Cal's are the only people who work for this company at present, so we're going to notice, okay? So don't waste your time. Just saying that now. We know if you've ordered a kit from us, because, you know, it's in the order history. It's like... so that's cool. So anyway, so if you have ordered a kit from us, and, you know, you can get as many free parts as you like, which is awesome. Now, on this page, there is the screen. There is the screen. There is the screen there. So, where I will let everyone know, basically, when I have, when we're probably after we've printed the Carrack, we'll do a big run of these new screens for the arrow. We will meticulously go through the boxes of all the arrows we've got on shelf and swap them out, but then we'll let you know that we'll have 50 or 60 on the shelf. So anyone who wants a new updated arrow screen, just request it as a free spare part. We always thought this might be the case, and because you don't glue the screen in, because you can position it so it's open or closed, we always knew it was something that people weren't really gluing into their ships, so we weren't too worried. We knew one day we'd work out how to make them a lot better, and we have now. So that's cool. So this would be an option for the Carrack. Going back to the Carrack, this, you know, this would be, you know, we could print it in that. It will be a solid clear print. Then you'd paint the struts on. Fine, okay, yeah, it'll be all right, cool. I wanted to go one better than that, and what I wanted to do, because we didn't have this solution at the time when we started doing this, I wanted to do an actual resin cast of this bridge, preferably with the internals of the bridge cast inside it. So here's our first test print of the internals of the bridge. So you can see you've got the 3 seats at the bottom, and you've got the hollow table. Now, interestingly, where's my piece of foam? There it is. Oh, Jesus, it's getting old. These things came out. These things actually came out larger than I thought. So I can actually make those seats a little bit more dainty, and I can actually put some more details on the sort of like mezzanine deck in there, and stuff. So there's still a bit of tweaking to be done. So the idea is to cast this piece inside a solid block of resin. So on Wednesday, for all of you amazing people that are here for Workshop Wednesday, we made this little Christmas present. So what we did, we took this piece and this piece, for those of you who weren't here. So these are casting masters, 3D printed casting masters. We took a silicon cast of both of these in a little Perspex box, and this created this thing here. So let's unwrap. So we have 2-part, and the squares are basically the key, so that you know it's locking in place. It's not a huge issue with this, because although it is a 2-part mold technically, because there's 2 parts, it's not really a 2-part mold from a casting point of view, because effectively we're just using this half to give us a definitive end flat surface to the cast, so we know exactly how long the piece is, so it goes into the model the right distance. If we just open poured this, we'd have the issue that, you know, when you put it in the compression chamber, any bubbles will be squashed and the resin will go down a little bit. So we've got this tiny reservoir in here just to allow that to go down, and then we don't also put too little resin in it or overflow it or all the rest of it. So we'll see how well this will come out. So you can kind of see in there. Where's my phone? Let's use a phone torch and see whether this works. See if we can.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you, Lorian, for the follow. So I don't know what my camera will think of this, but I'll try and shine this in so you can kind of see. You can see the nose of the Carrack is beautifully molded into there. You can see these two little dimples. So these two little dimples are the magnet holes for the magnet. Do you guys have a gladiator model? No, we don't. You know, like, so few people have requested a gladiator. Interesting. Yeah. So what we're going to do, just to show you how this will work, this is our internal bridge. So I need to make sure we get this right way around. Now, in theory, I've not tried this. I love trying things. I love trying things for the first time on stream. This is going to pop into here, and its magnet holes, so that hole and this hole at the bottom, should line up with these two rubber silicon pins. So let's get it the right way around. And it should then sit flush. Oh, look at that. So that is the bridge section, and then we're going to pour the resin in, and it's going to fill this up, and that will cast the bridge, the internals, into a solid block of resin. Now, I have noticed one thing already, that these holes are now, they're probably going to be in the wrong place because of this center bit here. You won't be able to see me. Oh, no, I think we'll get away with it. So this is the test one anyway. So one of the interesting things I forgot to point out on Wednesday was I didn't polish this. So this was straight off the printer. It was straight off the printer, just as was, right? Now, if you want something to be absolutely optically clear, you usually polish it. But the surface on this looks pretty fucking good, I've got to be honest with you. And I thought, well, I can always polish it later and do another cast of it. So I thought it would be really interesting to see how good it is without polishing it. Because if it works without polishing it, then we can make one with 5 on, or however many we like, because we're not worrying about getting in. Oh, that's in. Sorry, my cooler for the laser that we're going to use later has just kicked in. I just wanted to see whether my mic was picking it up, but it's not. So I don't think it is anyway. So we could put 4 or 5 on a build platform, and we're not having to worry about having to be able to polish it in between. So if we don't need to polish it, that will make it a cheaper part to produce, because we can make a mold with as many as we like on. Thank you very much, Death Ghost. That's good to know. This mic's pretty good, actually. It's why I've gone back onto this mic when I'm up here, because the 3D printers are just behind me, and yeah, it's bad. So that is, I will do this cast tomorrow, I think. I'm not going to do it live because clear resins I've used in the past I've been immensely anaphylactically allergic to. There's no reason to say that this one I will be. I shouldn't be.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Chief on the couch, thank you for the follow. So yeah, I'm not going to do that live just in case I need to be rushed to hospital, because that will be hilarious. I don't think I will. I genuinely don't think I will be, but just in case. I don't want to do it live on stream. I am horrifically allergic to one particular type of clear resin. So yeah, I don't think it'll be the case this time. But
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you for the follow, Naz. So that's where we are with that. So that explains, for anyone who didn't know, what this whole solid nose thing was. The other advantage of this, because it's on magnets, is that we can do a diorama kit later on when we get the armored bridge, so that this can pop in and out, and you can have the armored version. So that's cool. Now then, the windows. So the windows on this thing are cut out. They go into the hollow of the model. This is why we've left this open at the bottom. So you can see all the windows in the landing bay and try and shine the light through, they are actually all through holes. So we've got 2 on this side for the normal one and the captain's quarters, and we've got 1 here. And see you later, Gun Triangles. Thank you very much for popping in. Enjoy the rewatch. We've got the viewing deck here, and we've got a couple on the sides here. What about LED? Yes, so this is kind of what we're getting at here. So you can put the LEDs on the inside. There's lots of room for them. And I suddenly had a realization, though. So it's easier to put these screens in before you attach the front and the back fuselage together, for obvious reasons. However, it would be a lot easier to paint it once it's all together, and you don't want to have to mask off the windows. So I thought, we're going to need to come up with a way of being able to fit these windows either through this bottom hole or this front hole, or a combination of the 2. So to that end, we have invented the Carrack stick, or the JR stick. I think Carrack stick works better. So we were talking about making this anyway, because but just as a magnet stick. So it's got a magnet in the end, which is really handy for picking up some of these pieces that have magnets on the inside, so that you can like put them on and off the model without scratching the paint. You know, this really sort of cunning trick for that. But we've also put this tool on the end of it, this little triangular piece here. So how does this work? Well, we get our little clear parts. So let's take this one, for example. So this is a window. So there's the window bit that sticks through the fuselage there, and then on the body of it there is a suitable hole to poke our Carrack stick. So it's a fairly tight fit, because we don't want it to just fall off. We need to be able to waggle it around, and we just want to be able to draw it back out once the glue is set. So this is one that needs to be inserted through where the bridge would go, and is it? Yes, it is. So we've done it all in CAD, so it definitely works. But you basically push so you put glue on it. So you put glue on the surface of it, push it into here, and then obviously see. Oh, you're not going to be able to see it. So we're lining it up to this hole, but you can sort of see through it and see that that's in the right place. And this stick is the perfect length, and the angle at which this is going into this is at the perfect angle. We actually did a CAD of physically CAD drew the stick going into the front of it. So this stick works to insert all of the pieces. So we'll show you with this one. Get the right way. So this one is one of the back windows, and it fits just in here. That's when I'm going to see if it's left or right. This is that way. So I'm trying to get it on camera. So this fits in here. Then you would turn it over so you can sort of see yourself doing it. Oh, where are we? Oh, let me try and get this on camera for everybody. So there we go. So I'll just try. You see, that's without it, and that's with it. So this stick is just inserting that in there. So this allows you to glue all the pieces of the clear screens in once you've painted it, which I think will be a good advantage. And then there's also for all these 4 here, you don't have to do 4 individual ones. It's actually, once you've got all the others, it's literally this square ring here that just sits on in there. Obviously glue it in, and that does all of your windows for the hangar deck. So this is quite a nice way of doing it. So these are cured 3D print resin. They are naturally cloudy, so when you put LEDs on the inside of it, they will glow. They're not gonna, and if you want it, if you find that they're not glowing enough, sand them, buff them, give them a really rough texture to them, because that will make them light up. That's how you make sort of clear things light up, is actually degrade their surface so they're actually very buffed. So that's how you do all the windows. So like, there was one of those things where I suddenly thought, oh fuck, you really got to want to spray this thing before you put the windows in. God damn it. So it's like, right, The Carrack stick is going to have to do more shit now. Fine. So that took a few days of dicking around with, I'll tell you. That's fine. It works now. We're all good. We're all good. So that's fine. So once you've got all your windows in, the deck going. Now, for all those who haven't seen this piece before, this is quite a fascinating piece of the Carrack. Let me find you the original one. Apologies for rushing and wobbling today, but I really do want to get the stand drawn today, which is what we're getting to here. So this is sort of like the cargo bay top deck. Now this is game accurate because they haven't put any geometry on it or any textures on it because you can't drop the cargo pods yet. Haha. So we've had to do it for them. Hopefully JC won't mind. So all of this detailing in here and in here is stuff that we've drawn. And then we also came up with this deck. So at the back we have our magnets. So this deck drops in here and forms the top of the deck. And then we have cargo pods which magnetically sit into here so they don't fall out. We then have this. There is a third normal pod, but we also have this pod here, which is our stand pod. So this is what we're going to be building today. Is the stand for the the two legs of the stand go into here. So when you want to display it on a stand, you take out one of your normal cargo pods and replace it effectively by standing it on this one, which is quite a cunning way of doing a stand, in my opinion. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So we're interested in this one here. It's got its magnets in and everything. It's got these two holes. And what we want to do is design the stand that goes on here so we can stand the Carrack on a stand, which should be awesome. And if we get time after that, we'll also put its flight wings on and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if we'll get to that though. So that's fine. So the Carrack can go to one side for the moment because we're only actually interested in this piece here. How boring is that? Any ideas on stickers like the Freelancer Max, maybe the Anvil logo, or some serial numbers? Like for the water slide decals. Well, the water slide decals, we'll obviously do all of the water slide decals that come on the Carrack. So the Anvil logos, like we've done on the arrow and stuff. What we'll do is we'll basically, so as a general rule, the way we approach decals is we'll do all of the ones that are on the ship that are larger in size than 4 millimeters length and maybe 3 millimeters height. That's our limit. Obviously, you could keep going down and down and down and down. A lot of the time, there'll be numbers. So on standard on the Carrack, it's CRK01. So we will include, depending on how big those letters are, we will include lots of more numbers and potentially more letters so you can kind of do different names on the side.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Fume 306. Thank you very much for the follow. So yeah, obviously we now have our own names on ships. And if we printed individual letters, given the size of... Hi, James. I know, there's notifications. Wait till someone subscribes. It's hilarious. Or hosts, or raids, or tips. They're all different. They're all fucking hilarious. Those letters are going to be too small to just give like huge alphabet stickers for you to do your own like names on it, and they haven't actually finalized how big those letters are. We have the issue, I think, still in game at the moment, that it's sort of the default font size is set to allow for the 32 characters, which we can have in game. So if you have a shorter name, they don't get bigger. They will eventually. So we'll end up in this situation where we couldn't provide decals to do the naming properly. But it's, to be honest, I don't have an issue with that because you can buy water slide decal letters in all sorts of... If it's just letters you need, you can just buy them off Amazon. Like, genuinely, you can get water slide decal text in all sorts of fonts, in all sorts of sizes, so there's no issue with that. So we will put the decals in that we need for the ship, the Anvil logos, any lettering and numbering that there is on it, the no step, if that's relevant. Some of the other kits we've done, this is a great example since we have it here. This is the coolest decal sheet out of any of the decal sheets we've done, by far, in my opinion. So this is the Tumbril RC's decal sheet. So obviously the Tumbril RC decal sheet is the largest one we've ever done. So you can sort of see there's basically a set of black and a set of white. We often do this. We often do this for kits because perhaps in game they're all black decals, but obviously you might want to do them in a darker color scheme, so we give you the white as well. But so all of these are the numbers and letters and stuff for the thing, and all the different sponsors. So we've done a lot more sponsors on here than so see that we've done sort of faded text effects, but there's Yorm, Pips, loads of in-game companies for doing your sponsorship sheets, which I think is really, really nice. And that's just, we did all the ones that are on the Cyclone in game, but then we did a load of others, and we actually let Paul Jones pick a few. So he picked Yorm because that was his favorite. Favorite in-game company, so that was quite cool. So we will make sure, Death Ghost, that we have all the required and hopefully spares, and I say maybe in a couple of colors. Right, so making a stand. Okay, so this is our cargo pod that we are going to be using. One more thing before we move on. Just wanted to highlight this. I haven't seen Unji in chat today. Man, these are cool. Love them to bits. It's so good. And of course the space whale. Where's his space? The space whale. Obviously that's that's like the toy one. This guy. Oh my god, this is probably one of my favorite Unji models. Obviously, Ungineer has done some really cool models. He's done a Reclaimer, he's done a Hammerhead, he's done the Tick Miner, he's done a Pico, he's done hello Patch, done all this sort of stuff, and he has also done some drawing for us. He also did a Javelin for us for the Manchester studio, and a couple of other things. So yeah, he actually does stuff for us too. So I love the narwhal and the space whale. It's so good. I love his paint effect on it and everything he's done, and absolutely brilliant work. So he has put an RSI post up about it. Please go find it, follow it, like it. It's absolutely brilliant. This is the Engineer. Hi, Unji. I knew you'd be here. Look, oh, you are here. Excellent. Top work. Top work, my man. Yeah, absolutely. If you put it on as an RSI post, Unji, link it in, and people can go and upvote it. So that's cool. So, right, we need to build a stand. So, here we are. I've been lurking. Lurkers are always welcome in JRDF streams. I am a prolific Twitch lurker, because I tend to have Twitch on kind of during the day. And I like to have Twitch running in the background. So okay, so we need to build a stand for the carrot. The carrot needs to sit on something, and we're an hour into this, so that's cool. So we've got an hour left because this is supposed to be a 2-hour stream. We've got an hour left to actually make this, so we're good. So this over here is a very derpy low poly export of. Thank you, Angie. Derpy low poly export of our crate from 3D Coat. SketchUp gets a bit annoyed when you send really high poly voxel models to it, and we just need it as a reference point today, so we don't need a high poly model. So don't worry, the actual model is a hell of a lot better than this, but it'll just not bring SketchUp to a halt. This is the stand from the Freelancer Max 1:200 model, which I kind of think the actual base for the stand is perfect size for the Carrack as well. The Carrack's a larger model, but I think this base is more than sufficient for it, so that'd be cool. Obviously, these upstands are for the freelancers. These gently cup the underneath of the joining piece between the nacelles and the fuselage, and this that actually takes the vast majority of the weight. It's pretty much a balance point, and then this just takes a little bit more. These are curved with sweeping curves. Hello, Wilborg. Sweeping curves to kind of match that sort of misc freelancer aesthetic. So we don't want these. Goodbye. Go away. Because we're talking anvil and we're talking Carrack. First thing we need to do is line this up in the center of this. Now, from a point of view of weight distribution, what are we thinking here? So let me just grab a Carrack here. So this pod is going to sit at the back here, which is roughly dead center of the actual length of the Carrack. It was a little bit to the back by the time you've got the nose on, but there's a lot more weight on the back because it's got its engines. All this is quite a lot thicker stuff on the back. So you've got more bits putting in, and you've also got the wings attached to the side. However, the front nose section is solid cast resin, so it's going to be heavier. So roughly speaking, having this pod at the back, I mean, you could put it here, I suppose, but I think having this at the back is not far off weight center. If anything, I think it's going to be a little bit arse heavy on it. So as long as I do actually have one of these Freelancer Max stands, so we I think it would be more than sufficient to sort of have the stand sitting effectively there underneath it. So we want these holes just slightly further forward than the Max's holes were for this. So I think we've got. We kind of see this stand is definitely big enough for this model. The Max was a big model as well, so we didn't have any issue with the Max on it. So that's cool. So first thing we need to do is obviously line these holes up. We need to get. I can just explode this out. Actually, we don't want this front hole. So we don't actually need 3 points of contact for the Carrack. The reason for that is that because these cargo pods will encapsulate this, and the fact that the upstands are actually going to be glued into this specific cargo pod piece, the legs are going to go quite deep into that. It will give a lot more stability. So my plan is to have longer cuts, but only 2 upstands. You don't want the Star Citizen logo on the front. On the front of what? We have the Star Citizen logo. We haven't got the Star Citizen logo. We will have the Star Citizen logo on the Carrack base. It's not in SketchUp, so we don't have it. We don't have it here. We'll put it. It's all set up in the laser program, and I can't be asked to re-export it. so yes, we will. Once we've got where our legs are going to go, we will then decide where we want the Star Citizen logo and get it as big as we can get it. So that's fine. That will, interestingly, the Star Citizen logo bit is actually the last thing we do. So the Star Citizen logo is etched into the acrylic, and we can just position that in the laser software. So that's fine. Interestingly, this stand is made up of 4mm acrylic and 4mm acrylic, but they're different types of acrylic. This upstand are extruded acrylic, and this is cast acrylic. And it's really important to have them in that way round. So cast acrylic and extruded acrylic are basically just the 2 ways you make acrylic. Cast is where you basically have a very shallow pan and you fill it with liquid acrylic and let it set. And extruded is basically forced out of a letterbox. So it sort of comes through and sort of pushes it out, so it creates a sheet. Now, the extruded acrylic has a much more consistent thickness because of that. Plastics do vary a lot in thickness, but extruded far less. Acrylic can change in thickness by up to 15% over a single sheet because it doesn't quite settle. So if you've got a piece of acrylic that you want to fit thickness-wise into a slot, cast acrylic can be a complete pain in the arse because you might have one bit that's really big and one bit that's really thin. And without actually gauging each piece you've cut to find out that it's the right thickness, you'd have a lot of issues. So we use extruded acrylic for the upstands because we need a more consistent thickness. But the disadvantage of extruded acrylic is you can't etch it because it doesn't go white when you etch it for whatever reason. I don't. It's some way the molecules sit. Don't know. It doesn't go white when you etch it. So the base doesn't matter how thick the base is. If the base was thicker, the legs would just go in a little bit further. Fine. But we need it for the etching. So we don't even something like this. We can't even use one type of acrylic for. It's crazy. But hey, there we go. Right, so how high off the ground do we want the Carrack to be? Well, that's a good question. You know, how far do we want it to sit? Using my scalpel measure. So 45 mil was the height of the freelancer off the deck. I might say 50 mil this time, just because we've got the wings and stuff, and I think she would probably look a little bit better, a tiny bit higher than we have the freelancer, because she's got quite a lot of stuff underneath, like the turret and stuff. So we'll do 50. We'll do 50 mil, I think. So I just want to get that on the deck, and then we'll put it at 50 mil. So it'll sit that sort of height. Now we want to move this so that it's level with that. And that's level with that. Cool. Ooh. How's that moved up? I wonder if we've got any hidden geometry anywhere? We'll deal with it. It's fine, we'll deal with it. Oh, it's interesting, we did it when it did that side. I'm not going to worry about it. No, it's going to annoy me. Get annoyed by such little things. Bloody SketchUp. There we go. Right, so these are now the right width apart. If you have the base the same shape, it would have to go in the way of the base for the Carrack. Are you going to? Sorry, I need to go back on things. Are you going to use different cargo pods later and get extra stuff? Yes. So again, a bit like the armored nose Wilbur, if we get different pods, we'll basically collect all that up into one dire armor pack. So like Carrack extras or something. We'll have the armored nose and extra cargo pods and all that kind of stuff. It's a great advantage of doing them all on magnets, because you're not risking anyone's model by doing it that way. So that's cool. So we shall get these centered to the center of these. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry. Right. So I want these slots to be bigger this time, because we don't. It's taking all of the angular tilt of the model. So I kind of want. I'm doing this by eye to a certain degree, but I'd be happy with that. I think so. Slightly longer than a pod, maybe a bit more. There we go. So that's how long I want the slots to be, so that the legs for this have got a fair distance. And then from a point of view of the actual upstand itself, we want to give it a little bit more of a Carrack feel to it, i.e. an anvil feel to it. I'm going to have to fix this. Excuse my OCD. Last fix, I promise. Just one more fix. Dear. Right. Okay. So we want these upstands be a bit longer so they cover. So we've done the same with these. So they've got the actual pin, but then they've got a bit of a flange to them, so it gives them a bit more stability, and it means that if you put a bit of glue on the bottom of those, it doesn't ruin anything. If you have the base the same shape, it would have to go on the other end of the base for the Carrack. For the logo, yes, we'll push it to the front, and it'll sort of sit here-ish. Right, so let's do. We don't need it to come too much further forward than that, really. I'm happy with that. And I say we kind of want to do a bit more of a Carrack-y shape to it. What is a Carrack-y shape? Well, it's sort of more 45 degrees, or angles anyway, in its legs. So just kind of make something up and roll with it. Just want a rough shape just so we can have a play with it. It does quite look like the profile of the Carrack, actually. That's a good point.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Koala 999, thank you very much for the follow. Don't like that. I'm not too worried about this at the moment. We'll do that and see whether it looks hideous or not. It looks a bit chunky, doesn't it? It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell how chunky it's going to look. Long holes through the legs lengthwise. Not sure what you mean by that. So what we will need at the top here is this pin that's going to come up to here. So this is the pin that's going to go up into the actual... Nice. So yeah, we sort of did the similar. We did the holes in the freelancers one as well, and I do quite like them. Again, with the curviness, just makes it less, less horrid really. So obviously this seems really over the. Oh, sorry. This seems really over the top to support this one, this one tiny cargo pod. Yes, but obviously the whole Carrack. But yeah, no, I'm happy with that as a kind of like first attempt, really. So we will need. Obviously the stand to go into the bottom. We don't want it to be all the way through, just in case, in case our bottom acrylic is not quite thick enough. So that's fine. So, interestingly, this is all we actually need for the minute to actually run our first prototype. It doesn't seem a lot, but a laser doesn't need a lot of information to go on. We will just re-extrude that, but we'll nick this out. Just so that we've kept it there. Right, okay, so these are the two shapes we need here, basically.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you very much for the follow, Sunny Moon 1. Blame JR immediately. I wonder what the anvil logo would look. Let's get the overall shape done, and then we can mess about with what we're going to cut out of it. But yeah, we'll try with the anvil logo, because the anvil logo is quite interesting, actually. We've done some work with the anvil logo for other projects. Right, okay, so we're going to cut this. Now, I know I said that we need to cut this out of 2 different materials, but we're not going to be doing the Star Citizen logo in it yet, because we'll just stick that on at the end. I know that works, so I don't need to test that. So we're going to do both pieces out of extruded acrylic, so that we can just do a fit test, because it doesn't matter, because we're not going to etch it. So we first of all need to export these 2 things here. I should just go into my NDA screen. Don't worry, your eyes haven't broken. I just try not to show off my entire file structure. Occasionally I try. Just, just for shits and giggles. Right, okay, so I did have a stand. V1, okay, cool. Now, I have another camera! Because what this setup needed was more goddamn cameras. Right, so I'm going to disappear from there, and I'm going to reappear over here. And it's going to be like, I don't know, I'm now tangled up in my cable, but we're all good people. What I can't see is chat, so I suppose I could probably have a Twitch chat on this computer. I need to set up this camera a bit better, because there's a computer here that runs my laser, and I'm obviously going to be standing here, but otherwise my head was chopped off and it was all terrible. So I can put Twitch on here, can't I? And then I would be able to see chat. Pop out chat. Let me pop out chat, damn you. Cool. Right. So in theory, I can see people when they talk in chat. In theory. Right. So wait. Right. So I've got. I cut some acrylic earlier on today. Here's one I made earlier, sort of thing. So I cut the acrylic into these smaller sheets on my CNC machine, and to the size that will fit in the laser, and then I've cut some suitably sized panels for doing test cutting on. So that's cool. So that's actually cast acrylic, so I didn't have any cast acrylic. I do have some extruded here, acrylic, and I've probably got another sheet there, so that's extruded as well. So we've got our test pieces. We've got plenty of material, which we'll use this partly cut one. When you're cutting stuff on a laser, you need to lift the acrylic actually off the surface of the bed, because the bottom of this bed is like a metal waffle board, and the issue with 4mm thick. Oh, it's not. It's 5mm thick. Okay, we'll have to use cast acrylic. It's fine. It'll be fine for testing. I know that slot size works because it's the same as the Max, but I'm not too worried about that. So yeah, it's got like a metal waffle board on the bottom. So when the laser hits the waffles in the board, it reflects up back into the material you're cutting, which for most things it doesn't matter. But for acrylic, you end up with these tiny little pit marks. So you have to just raise the acrylic off the deck just a little bit. So we will need to adjust our laser height. So this is why I was kind of hoping Drew would be here, so that he could feed me questions from chat when I can't see it. Right, so I'll just set the laser height. Laser height is set. Excellent. Yeah, this is relatively devastatingly messy. So you'll see over here is all the casting equipment we used last week. This is my roll around table that I use for all sorts of stuff. These are all arrows being boxed, but I need to put decals on sleeves. The bags of foam, boxes of foam. This is big box of arrow foam, all cut, ready to go in kits. So yeah, no, I live in a state of general chaos. I do apologize. It's a maker space. I definitely live in a maker space. Right, so I'm gonna I wish I could. I will try and set it up so I can share this screen with you as well. But I need to, yeah, make the computer be different. So I can get rid of you. Black is my cut line. So I just need to do that. So what I've done is I've actually grabbed the Max's base and brought it into here so that I don't have to reinvent the wheel. Why change things you know already work? That's what I say. Right. So I need 2 upstands. Do we cut 2 to start with? Yeah, we'll cut 2. It's obviously really boring for you because you can't see my screen. But, so I just need to work out a screen sharing thing. Right, okay, that's cool. So here's where I don't know what's going to happen. So for this laser to work, I need to turn an air supply on. So I have no idea what that's going to do to my mic. No, you can't hear that. Okay, that's good. I'm then going to turn this extracting fan on. No, I don't believe for a second you won't be able to hear that because it is really noisy. And then we can set this thing going. I do need glasses. So I will need to put some cool shades on. I don't think I've ever actually worn these with headset. There we go. These are laser spectacles. It's not me just looking goddamn cool. Basically, this is a CO2 laser. So these are not particularly. They look really dark on camera. They look like sort of Stevie Wonder glasses, but they're not. They're actually really very gentle. When you're looking through them, it barely makes it go grey, but it's cutting out the light frequency of CO2 laser. Because obviously this is a 150 watt laser, so if it reflects off the waffle board and goes in your eyes, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Oh, that's gone badly. So I've just cut into my little woodeny framey bit. I just need to move it this way. Try again. yeah, my frame that it sat on, it was going through, and it's obviously still cutting through the plastic. It probably wouldn't matter for this sort of like test casing, but it does bring all the oils out of the wood and burns it and looks hideous. While that's cutting, I shall have a look at chat. Hope the camera. Yeah, no, the camera will be fine. The camera will be fine. At least you can actually see it cutting. So right, so the little red dot that you see. Oh, where is Kels? She is on another call. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where Drew is. He's abandoned me. I could put me back on there, couldn't I? Gosh, so cool. They're ludicrous. They look out. It's really weird. They look absolutely ludicrous. But I said they're not actually that. They don't darken the room hardly at all. So the little red dot that you see isn't actually the laser that's cutting. It's actually the guide laser. You'll see little sort of sparks and flames and things, but other than that, you don't really see. You don't actually see the laser cutting as such. I can actually turn the red one off. No, I'll leave it on so you can kind of see where the laser is. So the little red laser dot is how you zero it. So the red laser sits at an angle to the main laser. So you fire the main laser to make a little hole in your material, and then you raise it up until the point of the red laser is in the same point as the main laser, and that's how you know how far away it is from the material. More expensive machines have more automated ways of zeroing, but this is a Chinese special because I don't have £30,000 for a Trotec. Trotec are always trying to sell me a new laser. I've had reps turn up on our door because they see what we do. It's like, oh, you totally need a Trotec laser. It's like, I don't disagree. I would right arm for one, but £35,000 for one the same size as this. It's like, motherfucker. 10 times the coin. So we turn those on. Right, that's cool. Alright, we've got our pieces. Sure. Come back over to this. I have taped my I have taped my. I should take bloody glasses off now. My cable together. So I have my sort of trailing cable, which after learning last week, I have at least taped the fucking joints together, so I don't keep unplugging myself. So here we are. I should say exactly the same size stand as the Freelancer Max's stand. Okay, so that's a little loose. That is a little loose. That way is fine though. Might be a little bit. Could be a little bit tighter. Where's our? Yeah. Well, it's in the Carrack. That'll be where it is. So, what do we think? Yeah, it could do to be a little bit tighter. Has to be said. Why isn't that going all the way in? It's odd. I think it's sitting at a slightly. What a dick! The wrong bloody way around, haven't I? What a complete knobhead! What a tool. Oh look! Sit straight now! Who the fuck knew? Jesus Christ, John. Right. Okay, so it's good. It's good. I say it's a little wobbly. I shall try and pick it up so we can see it on camera. It's a little wobbly because we've got those bottom holes. Utter blab. Yes, utter blab. So it's a little bit wobbly because those bottom holes are a little bit too loose. But what else can we determine from this? These ones here are also, I suppose it's rocking on the actual, because I haven't glued the middle bit in. It's not actually rocking on that, so that's fine. Weight distribution seems okay. So we can stick let's stick these wings on just to help weight the back. So it'll be a bit more realistic. Yeah, no, I mean it's a nice. Because the idea is we're actually going to glue these legs into the bottom. When can I order my Carrack? Why? Do you think it looks quite good? I'm loving this model. And so it's really weird. I was talking to Leela about this. It's like, I'm not a Carrack fan. She's a Carrack fan. She's got a Carrack. She got a free Carrack for being one of the volunteers for CIG, CitizenCon. So she's got a Carrack, and one of her favorite ships. Obviously, by far her biggest ship, and she really loves it. I wasn't a Carrack fan at all when I started the model. I started to become more of a Carrack fan. This often happens. I appreciate these ships a lot more. But, yeah. I love your woman. Leela's not my woman. Leela's my woman's daughter. Callie doesn't give a fuck about Star Citizen ships. Can tell you that right now. She doesn't. Her favorite ship is just the one we sell the most of. She's like that. Yeah. Callie doesn't have a favorite ship. She fell out of the 8-9. She's only been in game twice as Callie. I think. And once James Stormtrooper basically tried to keep her safe in an 890 jump for one of the Daymar rally as a Hearst and Hurt locker, and she fell out of the 890 twice. Top work. So yes, that was a debacle. We're gonna dial this in a little bit now. So, happy with the stands. We'll keep the stands as they are. So this base, the slots need to come in by 1/10 of a mil, shorten by 1/10 of a mil. So we'll just quickly do that. Oh, let me do that and that. Loving, by the way, if people haven't played around with it, the new Discord version, not Discord. What the fuck are you talking about? OBS. All these transitions and stuff are all OBS, not scene transitions. This is all one scene, which I absolutely love. They are source transitions, which I think are absolutely brilliant. Right, so we're gonna shave, unlock them. Put that down by 0.4 mil, and I'm just trying to think of arbitrary numbers. So this is 3.8, so let's tighten it up to 3.7. 3.7. No, don't do that. Wrong box. Okay, so we just need to make those red because we don't want to cut those this time. Fan on, air on. Just cutting black, boom, do it. So going back to your actual question, when you can order this thing, when it's ready. I know it sounds like a stupid thing. We are not doing a pre-sale on the Carrack. Not got my glasses on. We're not doing a pre-sale on the Carrack because we don't want to. It was interesting. It was talking to someone who's like, "Oh, why don't you do pre-sale?" Pre-sale is really stressful. I don't think people realize that, and it's. I like to think it's stressful because we're not dickheads. Because we take your money and we're not giving you anything, and we feel like you know, there's a lot of stress when you've got everyone's money and you can't give them something in return. So now we're at that point of not needing the money. We've managed to build up the cash flow to be able to launch a kit without pre-selling it first. It's a lot less stress for us because a lot of the time scale, especially at the end of the project, i.e. when it comes to art sign-offs and stuff like that, is completely out of our control. You know, it's we can't determine how fast. Right, throw that away. We can't determine how fast the. Oh, that's tight, but it's nice and firm. Put it in the wrong way around again. Jesus, there's a bit of a squeak to it, but okay, okay. It's more stable. I like it. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. Thug life. So yeah, so we totally have a stand for the Carrack. I might play around with like trying to put the logo in this and stuff, and see what the art team, our sort of Dodge and them lot think. But yeah, I'll play around. But we have a stand that works. It's definitely stable enough. I like it because it's you know, it's nice because it's the same size shape at the bottom as the Maxes, which I quite like. So that's cool. Done and done. So let's just do a few of these questions. So yeah, so when will it be out? So the dioramas are coming out first. Let me find quickly the dioramas because we were talking about them. God, I've lost them already. So these guys are coming out first. So the 7 dioramas coming out first. Those 3 Lancers, Lancer, Max, Cutlass Black, Cutlass Red, Pisces, Arrow. So those 7 dioramas are coming out hopefully by the end, well, certainly by the end of the month. So where we are with that to also answer my, CNS. To answer Gambler 423's question, do your finals need to be signed off by CIG? Yes, very much so. So the way this works is we apply for a license for each individual kit. So each individual kit is a product, and we apply for a license for that product. We have the license, we then design the kit, we do all the test printing, we get it to the stage where it is, where we are happy with it. It then goes off to Mr. John Crew. I even had a picture somewhere of us, like the box we actually sent JC's stuff in. Where is it? Just because it was quite a cool, quite like the picture. Here we are. So this is one of JC's boxes that we sent him. So that was the Arrow and the Pisces and the Freelancers and the Max, and then there was another layer in it which had the does. So what we send to JC is it's in kit form and build, so that he can see it fully constructed and see it how it's going to come as a kit. So that goes off to JC. JC kind of decides that yep, that's all fine, that's all cool. So that's him signed it off. At that point, we can start actually printing the models. So that's when production can start. We then have to get the artwork done. So let's use the tumbrel as our example for this, since we have one here. So artwork-wise, we have a sleeve. So the artwork sleeve is, we used to have painted models on it, but that added a lot of steps to this process. I'll explain why in a minute. So we now use in-game. So Hashkahar, who is in chat, along with Captain Raoul and Darjanator, sort out the screenshots. So we have multiple screenshots of the kit. I take pictures of all of the kit pieces, which go on the back, so we've got all that. We then have all the legal notices, all the logo notices, the Made in Britain logos, Star Citizen logos, all that kind of jazz. We also have our limited edition hologram decal on it. So once that design is done, that goes off to CIG, and that goes to art and legal and law, because we do law type stuff on it. The other thing that goes to art, legal and law are the instructions, because our instructions now are really quite fun. Again, artwork, we've got cover spreads, there's loads of art pictures in the build instructions now, which is really, really cool. They've done an amazing job with it. And yeah, so that all has to go to art, legal and law, as in the story behind it, and legal as in the actual legal people that decide whether they're going to allow us to make this as a product under the Star Citizen banner. So that whole process, because it needs to go to JC, Art, Legal and Law, can take up to anywhere between 2 weeks and 2 months. Not a joke. It depends how busy all them are. It needs to be routed around. Depends if there needs to be anything changed. It goes back to the beginning. So we have no control over that. That's just dependent on how busy people are and how fast it goes through and all the rest of it. So that piece of oh no, that piece of sandpaper lives in this kit, and I've just taken this kit off the shelf. So we need to make sure we put it back. We're good. Someone will be complaining they don't have that bit of sandpaper in their tumble. We're all good. We're all good. So yeah, so that's one of the reasons why if we put it on sale and we go, right, we think it's going to be ready in a month, or that could be 3 months. We don't know. And we don't like that. It's horrible. Yes, so basically there's no pre-order. So what will happen is once JC signs it off, then we'll start making it, because that's the other thing that has to happen between us as having the finished model that we're happy with, or we're done with it, we're going to send it to JC. We actually have to produce them. We have 7 3D printers now, but we're to answer a question that was way up there. Are we doing 500 or less than 500? We are doing 500. We do 500 of every SKU in game, basically. So we obviously aren't going to produce 500 of them, because that would take forever and cost tens of thousands of pounds worth of resin. So to say we want to put 50 of these on the shelf, that's probably 6 weeks of solid printing on 7 printers. You have to produce them? Instaprint? No. So, and you know very well, Letzik. But a good example of this is, let's take the Carrack. So this is the nose, the front section of the fuselage. We can get these 3 on a print on one build platform, and that's a 25-hour print. So one printer, 25 hours to make 3 of these front fuselage sections. So all in all, I think, roughly speaking, 7 printers will be able to do 50 of these in about a month to 6 weeks. We will obviously increase our production capability. There's a great thing about 3D printers. There's a lot of advantages and a lot of disadvantages of 3D printers. One of the big advantages of them is you can double the amount of production capability you have simply by buying more printers. The printers we use are £4,500 a pop, so it's not like we can just go, oh yeah, let's just get 10 more, because there's a hell of a lot of money. But when the cash flow allows for it, we could get another one to bolster it up. But most of the time, 7 seems to be a nice number. We seem to be able to keep on top of orders. Certainly, even with like the RSI page going live, we've kept well on top of the orders with 7 printers. It's slightly harder when you're doing a new model as well as trying to print your current ones, because obviously we've done now 58 test prints of the Carrack of various trays with parts on. So at the end of the day, that's not printing particularly time efficiently, because you might be just printing one thing or printing just a couple of things on a build platform. You're not filling it like you do with a production print. So we've probably used about 300 to 400 hours of printing to get us to this stage on the prototype, because I've got boxes of Carrack bits, of like old test prints. I should grab it. Many stages of the Carrack, so all of these prints take a lot of printing. So there's buckets of old prints, and my desk's covered in Carrack prints at the moment, obviously, because we're doing the Carrack. And yeah, so I say Carrack wise, the only thing that's left to do, actually to do on the Carrack, now that we've got the base, obviously tweak the base, but is literally just to get this front nose cast. So we've got the bridge inner sections now. We've got our mold. So tomorrow I'm going to do a test cast of that, and that should get us to the point of being able to send a model to JC next week. That is the genuine goal. Get this model to JC. We have all the parts now. Could you do your test prints alongside production prints? No. No, we can't do that. The production prints are absolutely crammed full. And having other prints on the same build platform can affect the other prints. Seems daft, but they can. Especially if we get a failure, because obviously you've got a much higher chance of a failure on a prototyping test print because you haven't printed it before, and that would destroy the whole raft. So it's not worth the risk, basically. And those test prints, I mean, when we set the production run test prints up, we probably have to do a full raft 2 or 3 times to get it to print absolutely perfect. Gambler423, you raise an excellent point. Okay, and it's a fantastic segue. Thank you very much. So, we've been discussing this, right? So we now on our website have, you now have, there's a new currency. I'm going to have to make myself disappear for this and turn that off. So we have a little thing down here, which is our rewards, where you can earn JREX. You can refer a friend, referral code type thing. I saw someone in the chat use that. I will go up in the chat in a minute and just check I've not missed any questions. When you place an order, you get a 1 JREC for every £1 you spend. You get 50 points on your birthday. You get 50 for creating an account. You get 50 for 10 for newsletter. You get some for writing reviews, all that kind of stuff. Now at the moment, there isn't really anything you can spend it on. Seems a bit of a flawed system, do you not think? Yeah, I know, right? So this, one of the really annoying things about Shopify and Shopify plugins is that nice plan, nice. One of the most annoying things about Shopify is you can't ghost the site. When you do something, it goes live straight away. So putting in this system wasn't just covering the reward things; it was covering the wish list stuff and new review platform and all this sort of stuff. So the ability to have points has come before things to spend it on, but we're working on that. Hopefully now historical points should be right. So Flam, for example, your 1,398 points, thank you very much, sir, should be correct given all your orders, past orders that you may have placed on the old Squarespace e-commerce site. I'm sure there will be some people who hasn't done it right. Please let me know and I will correct them manually. In theory, the company behind this app, I've given CSVs for all of our previous clients and they've sorted it. So I won't know unless people tell me that it's wrong. So things to spend the money on. 1, customized boxes. So I actually even have your picture, Flan, I had somewhere. Because you posted it in the server, I think. That's where I got it from. Yes, there we go. Thank you, Flan. Right, so the first time when we launch a product initially, the first 10 people to place the order for a new kit get this customized box. So they get the name on it. So everyone gets the Jedi Design Fabrication in the middle from kits from the Freelancer Max onwards. So the Arrow, the Dragonfly, and the PTV don't have that. That was something we started to do for the Freelancer Max. So everything from the Freelancer Max onward, timeline-wise, gets the JR Design Fabrication lasered into the box. But the first 10 get the full lot. So the MISC, Freelancer, Scale 1 to 100 kit, Flanther, because this is Flans, and then 2 out of 500 because he was the second person to buy. I think this was the Max. So one of the things you can spend your JREX on is to have a personalized box. So at any point you can spend some JREX. If you didn't get in the first top 10, obviously it won't be a top 10 number. It'll be 230 out of 500 or whatever. But you can spend your JREX and just basically put a note in the order for what name you want on it. So that's one of the things we're going to let you spend your monies on. But going back to your question about failed prints. This is a real. So we've wanted to do this for a while, and we still need to ask permission from CIG to be able to do it. I need to pick the right box. Let's go. Okay, so the biggest issue with these boxes is they may or may not contain models that you haven't seen yet. So I'm going to do it on this camera. Yeah, the name can be whatever you like. You can put JR Go Fuck Yourself on it, and I will quite happily laser it on a box. I don't care. You've given me money. I'm not proud. So we have IKEA boxes full of parts. So this is an IKEA box of 1 to 100 failures. So let me pick one out for you, because we had to scrap a load of arrow bodies this week. So this is in the failure box. Now, where's my piece of foam? My piece of foam was working really well. Let me get my piece of foam. Right. Just makes my camera focus better. So this is an arrow body, and prizes, if anyone can see what's wrong with it. I'd say prizes, but so basically we had a slight issue where because it's really humid at the moment, I think the IPA wasn't evaporating fast enough. Come on, camera, focus. Let's manually focus the camera so you can see what's going on here. Apologies. Where's my desk cam? There we go. Properties. Right, let me just turn autofocus off. Right. Come on. Oh, really? That's as good as we get? Okay, so just here, it's gone slightly wobbly. And it's the IPA had soaked in, and it just deformed this leading edge ever so slightly, and it just won't stand out nicely. It's just one of those really annoying little things that just will happen occasionally. And I say it's happened, I think, because of the humidity, and we got, we got the we got it sorted. We just had to let it dry once it had been washed in IPA for 6 or 7 hours, and it straightened itself out before curing it. The issue was that we were curing it too quickly, and obviously the IPA soaks into the resin ever so slightly and then evaporate gases back off, and it had just plumped it up ever so slightly, and that had been enough to just deform it slightly, and then we'd put it in the cure. And usually the cure, because it's at 60 degrees, kind of evaporates everything off, but it cured it too quick. So we threw away 10 arrow bodies because of that problem. Annoying. God damn it. That was 2 days of printing on a printer thrown away. Just because I didn't notice it the first time. I didn't notice it when the yeah. Wilborg, keep checking your points, because I say there'll be an initial point, and then I say this company's updating stuff. Yeah, that you'll just keep an eye on. I think everything's right now, but it might be worth checking.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
So Flashbit, thank you very much for the follow. Patch, the resin is different or not good enough. Don't know what you mean by that. This on the arrow? No, I say it was just the IPA. It's really, I say really humid. It's Scotland. It's really humid for Scotland. I'm not gonna claim it's really humid because that would be a lie. Oh yeah, the one part. Yeah, I say just when stuff comes out of the printer, you put it in isopropyl alcohol to wash all the excess resin off it, and that can just sort of plump the prints up a little bit. I say just not giving it enough time to gas off, and I think because of the humidity, it was evaporating a hell of a lot slower, and I was just in a rush. I was just throwing into the cure before it was ready to go in the cure. I mean, post processing on SLA 3D prints is about a 3 to 4 hour process. Once it's been printed, you've got about 3 or 4 hours of post processing. But yeah. Will you do some custom ship names on the side of the Carrack? I'll say we won't do. I mean, we don't paint them. Obviously, these are kit models for you guys to put together and paint yourselves. That's all our license covers. Present at the moment, we only have a licensing agreement for kit models. We do put a decal sheet in with them, but we can put like load of alphabet letters. I think I'm planning to. They are very small. You can just buy alphabet letter water slide decals, off Amazon for the letters. Obviously, our decal sheet will have all the Anvil logos, all the stuff you definitely need. But I think to fill the sheet with a lot of just letters, the decal sheets, again, this is because we can't mass produce anything. Mass production starts at 100,000 units. Each A4 decal sheet is costing us about £15 to £25. So we need to get as many individual decal sheets for the kits as we can out of that model. So yeah, we will try and keep them as small as possible because then it's less to add on to the kit. Yeah, they ain't cheap. Again, it's one of those things. If you're talking about the kind of numbers to get them screen printed, you can bring that cost down seriously. But you need to be ordering 5,000 sheets minimum to be able to get them screen printed. Just because the screens cost a fortune to set up for them. So yeah. Right, I'm just going to quickly go through the chat and see if there's any other questions that I missed. Thank you very much, everyone who's been in chat today, throwing lots of cool questions our way. If you've got any more questions, throw them in chat right now. So yeah, ETA on the Carrack. I know I keep avoiding the question. The ETA on the Carrack is probably, if we get the model to JC next week, hopefully he has no issues with it, so he'll sign that off beginning of the week after. All the parts are kind of laid out now, so we can start. We'll need to export all of the renders for the instruction manual, so that can get put together. And then that's probably a couple of weeks worth of work in the instructions to get that off ready for art. I think Hashgahar and Captain Roll have done all the screenshots for the Carrack for the instruction manual and the box now, so the box is probably already ready to get put together and ready to go because that template's well sorted now. I'd like to think what we're now the 11th. I'd be really annoyed if the Carrack missed August. If we went beyond August with the Carrack, I think it's definitely even with the sign-off time. I really don't think we should be beyond that. The dioramas have now all been signed off, art-wise and all that kind of stuff. I think it's been to legal and law. I think so. Cals will correct me if I'm wrong there. But so that's just now printing. So. Happy to see a Carrack, so cool. Yes, no, I started saying this before. I'm not a huge Carrack fan in game, but I have come to love it a little bit after doing a lot of work on the model of it. You'll see our LA on Friday. Nice. Is it supposed to? We have had some USPS have done some crazy motherfucking stuff with some of our kits. this year. I think one we had to refund and resend basically because it's gone on now a 7,000 mile round trip just bouncing around the US. It's crazy. But yeah, so that's cool. Excellent. I do like the TR. Out of the two Cyclones, TR is probably my favourite because it's got the pew-pews on it. It's not actually because it's got the pew-pews on it, actually. It's because it's got the 6 characters in it. Because I kind of like the... I kind of like the characters. I mean, obviously the RC has characters as well, but like the TR has 6 characters in it. It's got like an outlaw crew, so it's got the gunner and this guy. Is there a picture of? Yeah, I love this girl here. She's just chilling, hand on the top, foot on the dashboard. James the Stormtrooper post all these for us. They're absolutely awesome. And then there's a UEE crew with the sort of like the more UEE looking guys using the controls and stuff. And I kind of like the TR for its crew. I think the crew's absolutely awesome. So yeah, yes, thank you, James. James did amazing work on that. He also did the people for the Hurston Hurt Locker trophy, which there really should be a blog post about that. Totally isn't. I don't know where this picture is. But yeah, the Hurston Hurt Locker trophy has kind of going to do large character models like those in the future. It's one of the things that we did ask CIG for back in the past. It's not something they've given us a license for yet. We've prototyped some. So they have an interesting problem in that the resolution that you can get out of the game files for the people works for 1 to 40 and 1 to 100, which is what we do our people in. Much bigger than that, and you start to see how kind of facety they are. And obviously, we have the same issue with the ships, and we have to do a lot of redrawing work and obviously do all the detailing in again ourselves. But it's a hell of a lot of work to do it to a character because we'd pretty much be having to make new meshes for each bit of armor. It's just like yeah, it's a lot of work. I'd kind of like to start off if we did do a larger scale, like a 1 to 4 or something like that, to do kind of 1 to 4 guns and 1 to 4 helmets and stuff. I don't know whether any of you guys have checked out Weta Workshop. So Weta Workshop, obviously the guys behind Lord of the Rings and all this kind of awesome stuff. But they also have a store where they sell props and stuff and models. Not for the faint-hearted price-wise. If you want the Black Arrow from The Hobbit, that'll cost you $2,000. And they're sold out. Pretty fucking cool, though. These are obviously made by the same people that actually made them for the films. So they, yeah. Oh, yeah. The £9,350 for the sword. Like I say, not cheap. But one of the things they do is... Must still be in here somewhere. Why aren't you in weapons? Oh, District 9. So they did a lot of the props of District 9. And they do 1 to 4 scale weapons. But they are real swords. Yes, they are real swords. I don't think they're sharp swords, though. I mean, they will be the same sort of swords for filming. So they'll be blunt-edged swords, because obviously you don't have sharp swords for filming. Yeah. Still pricey. So they do these guys. I've no idea how much these were because everything they do sold out pretty much. But yeah, so they did a limited edition of these guns and stuff. which are kind of cool, and they would work quite well for Star Citizen guns, I think. As I say, 1 to 4 scale. 1 to 4 is probably the largest scale weapons we could make before we start impinging on, obviously, replica firearms, which is a big no-no in this country, for obvious and very good reasons. Especially things like Star Citizen guns, which look way too much like modern firearms. Yeah, that's not something we want to touch, to say the least. But yeah, so these of course, these I would seriously consider as a thing to do, and helmets. Same sort of scale to actually do some of the Star Citizen helmets. Again, a lot of redrawing on them. There's the weapons are like the ships. There's an awful lot of work to put into them. But the guns we could do as kit models in 1 to 4. That'd be quite fun. But like, it's not like we're not going to ships to do. That's the thing. It's like there's so much we can do, but it's just like, oh my god, there's so many ships, Especially now we're trying to do all of them 1 to 500. As well as doing, I mean, we need to do some more 1 to 100 ships as well, because the Arrow's hurtling towards getting sold out now. I think we've sold over 300 now. We have put all the remaining hologram stickers on the cards and the sleeves this week, and we're boxing up another 50 odd, I think, this week. For Arrows, we've been printing them pretty heavy for the last week or so. Yeah, and 12-inch posable figurines with magnetically attached integral armor would be pretty slick, though. It would. Get on with it. After you. just like, crack on. Yeah, as long as you can guarantee we'll sell 2,000 of them, I'll do it right away, sir. It's like everything else, though. It's just like, I think, and I may whinge about this an awful lot on this channel and this stream. Star Citizen isn't very big. It really isn't. Star Citizen is it's awesome, and I do think that it's it suffers because of how awesome its community is sometimes. The community in Star Citizen is so passionate, so on it, so active, so engaging. It makes it feel like a much bigger community than it is, because it's very active, and Star Citizen is not a big game yet, and it doesn't have a big following yet. It really doesn't, and when you consider a lot of the criticisms we get for our products is that they're way too expensive. That we should just mass produce them. It's like, well, okay, two things: we're a made in Britain company. I don't want to see this stuff shipped out to Asia or India or somewhere else to get mass produced somewhere. That's not what I'm into. Other companies can do that. No one's stopping other companies from doing that if they want to. They can contact CRG. They can get license agreements like we have. Let them at it. Don't care. Not what we do. Not what I'm interested in doing. Mass production for injection molding starts, dependent on the size of the thing, obviously, but somewhere between 100,000 and 500,000 units. Because the injection molds, the tool dies for injection molding, can cost up to £250,000 each for the really big, like 3-stage ones. Certainly for doing something like the Carrack model, you would be doing 8 or 9 shells. So even, it wouldn't be as detailed a model anyway, but you could probably do a Carrack in sort of 6 or 7 pieces, injection molding. The setup cost for that alone would be well over $500,000. So unless you're going to produce hundreds of thousands of units, it would be an incredibly expensive way of doing it. If take Citadel Miniatures for an example, Citadel Miniatures, I think, is an amazing company. I am into Warhammer. They manufacture all their stuff in the UK. They had these really amazing specialist machines built for them. They do not put a popular kit like a Space Marine set on sale until they have 1 million units in every continent they sell on. So they don't start selling till they've got 3 million in the warehouse. It's just like, that is mass production. That's impressive. Yeah, there's still very little much for The Expanse. I found the company. I was chatting with someone at the company that did the Razanante model the other week. It is a... Never going to find him now. Let me just swap screens and see if I can... Because I was talking to him on LinkedIn. Let's see if I can find the company. Obviously there was the Kickstarter and everything, but it had not clocked who the actual company was that made it. But I was chatting to them. My messages. Let's see if I can find the website again. Because it was really obscure to find the actual website for them. I mean, I'd not really been looking, but no, that's not you. That's I can't find them now. Ideal Planet. There we go. Idea Planet. Sorry. Here we go. So, not a company I'd really come across before. So these are the guys that made the Resonante. So they do a lot of normal sort of like miniatures and like special edition box sets and stuff. Rebranded watches and that kind of that kind of stuff. But they also did the Resonante. Can't believe it isn't on there. Like, so this is why I never found it, because it's not actually. They make all this stuff's made in China. They have factories in China, so I mean it's not like they are. Bizarre that I can't actually find an article on Resonante. I'm just being stupid and blind. But yeah, they did Destiny 2 stuff. It's mainly, as I say, kind of like challenge coins and relatively standard, kind of like a sword, Assassin's Creed sword that goes along with the thing. So just a kind of resin type thing, figurines and what have you. But yeah, these are the guys who did it. And obviously they did it through Kickstarter, licensed from Amazon. And the Resonante model is pretty good. I do quite like it, especially good for $200 and whatever it was. It's a big model. It's like a 20-odd inch model, fully painted. Detail's not very high on it, has to be said. They obviously didn't have the original CG files for it, or they certainly didn't go to a lot of effort to make it a detailed model. But again, it was all injection molded, so there's only a certain amount you can actually do to make it absolutely spot on. Right, cool. Awesome. Thank you very much, y'all, for coming on. We should probably raid someone. We'll raid Vertigo. Go and say hi to Vertigo. Always like giving HG Vertigo a raid. He knows who we are. Give him a lot of love, and if you can turn around and join us on Wednesday, then join us then. See you later, guys. Ta-da.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.